When you think about best in breed, you're assuming that every SKU, every vendor you buy, it's going to be the best at what it does. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That happens. But the problem is, it's not just about being best in breed. It's also about organizing the entire network and operating it as a single entity. And if you think about Meter, we are best in breed in everything. We do not compromise on performance. We do not compromise on deployments, configurability, and management of a network. And that's why we have really powerful firewall, switches, access points, PDUs, cellular, and our dashboard is extremely powerful with live stats, real-time data. And then we take that information and we feed it into our model, we train our model, which makes it even more powerful. So when you're talking about best in breed, what you should think about is it the right solution for my problems? And can it actually solve my problems, even if my network grows really large? So we do not compromise on performance, we do not compromise on UI, we do not compromise on utility. And we always optimize for outcomes for the customers. Meter's backend cloud is very powerful. And what do I mean by that? We can automate every single component of the network. For example, let's say you have an issue with auto channel selection or auto power selection. The devices don't make the decisions. The intelligence lies in the cloud, where we take the real-time data and process it and send that information to the devices after we make the decision. That's one example. The second example is we learn the environment. For example, let's say you have two warehouses. We know that it's a warehouse. We know what the environment is, what the constraints are. What we can do is we can take the data, the metadata that we collected from warehouse 1, and we can feed that as a model for warehouse 2. So this allows us to see how warehouses, all of our customers with warehouses are performing. And we can say, this channel is better here, this deployment is better here, this placement is better here. That's another example. And the last example I would say is automating if there's an issue on the network. So there are two sub-points about this, which is our general automation and then our autonomous networks. I can go deeper into autonomous networks later, but overall, the general automation is if there's an issue on the network, the devices and the network feed that back into our backend. And we have validations and automations hook into our backend that can solve the issue and alert the customer saying these are the steps we took. If we cannot solve an issue, we alert the customer saying these are the issues that you might want to try to fix the problem. So we have both automations, just general automations, but also autonomous networks which think, which learn, and which can deliver a solution to the customers directly. There are many trends that we have seen over the course of years, and this is not a new trend of multiple things converging at a time, and that's okay. The reason we are seeing more security and more network converge is because the tools are getting complex. They're getting complicated to deploy, complicated to buy. Pricing is becoming more complicated. And when you have these many complications in the pipeline, customers are getting really tired. What they want is one simple solution and one way to manage these solutions and one way to pay for these solutions. You don't want the IT team and the network engineers go fight with your finance team. That becomes very, very difficult to deploy great solutions. With Meter, you have one single stack for network and security and performance and management. With that, you can go to your finance team and say, this is what I'm getting, no hassles, one single pricing. From an IT engineer perspective, from a deployment perspective, you have the true power to deploy these solutions in a safe and easy manner. And you can go to every single part of the stack knowing what you're getting and knowing how to operate them without a lot of overhead. This is a complicated ecosystem of things. So when you have identity management, policy management, and throughout the network management, it becomes really difficult for IT teams to zone in on where the problem is and how to manage all these. With Meter, we are bringing all of that into a single unified dashboard. That sounds really nice, but what does it mean? It means you can go to every part of the stack easily, navigate every single feature easily, and understand what is happening on your network, both from an identity management, who's on the network, who cannot get on the network, who shouldn't get on the network, and how these policies are managed. And this is a highly performant network. With Meter, everything is cloud managed. All your policies are cloud managed. Even if you have 1,000 locations, 2,000 locations, and you have hundreds and thousands of devices, all of them can be managed through cloud. The policies are set up in the cloud dashboard and pushed through the entire network. You can manage through role-based access control, you can segment your networks, you can put firewall rules, you can put any security rules, all through the cloud management. And you can be sure that the devices adhere to these policies. And if the policy that you want to push to the network, before we do that, we hit our virtualization layer where we validate every single policy that goes into the system so that you don't break your devices. And this is where our entire architecture power comes from, which is the virtualization layer. Business models are great to talk about, but at the end of the day, network engineers want great products. They don't care about business models. Customers can pay us CapEx, OpEx, upfront, flexible. We're happy to work with the customers to make it work. But the main important point here is customers want great outcomes. They want phenomenal networks that they can manage throughout their entire fleet. I'm talking about thousands of networks, thousands of devices, thousands of locations. With customers, what we're seeing in back-to-back every single day is they want Meter networks because they can manage them. Regardless of the size of the network, regardless of the number of networks they have, they want to manage seamlessly and they want to get insight into how the networks are performing every single day. With our automation, with our autonomous systems, autonomous networks, we also alert the customer in every single aspect that's happening. For example, let's take SD-WAN and just WAN in general. Many customers have issues with their ISPs because they're in remote locations or locations that don't have quality ISPs. With our monitoring system, with our complete WAN monitoring system, they don't have to buy another solution. We do host monitoring, WAN monitoring, ISP monitoring, application monitoring, and smart routing. If you take all of that, customers love that. Are they thinking about the business pricing and all of that? No. They're thinking about, I'm getting a phenomenal product for a great price. And we will work with the customer to make sure their outcomes are great. Our main goal is to make sure the customer has phenomenal networks. We will give them all of the hardware that is necessary. We design the floor plans, we design the networks. When we go into a network, we want to make sure the customer experiences great networks, great Wi-Fi, great WAN, great security. So for that, we will give them as many devices as they need. It always confuses me why network engineers or companies don't think about where the networks start. The first point where the network begins is the WAN, is the ISP. If you do not think about the ingress and egress into a network, you cannot design a great network. And to deliver great outcomes for every single customer, we do fully vertically integrated stack. And this is one of the components of that. And that is why it's so important to get this right. By procuring ISP circuits for the customer. And you can do this with our Meter Connect product. You can go to the dashboard, you can punch in an address, and you'll get all of the available ISPs. When you see these ISPs, you can buy as many circuits as you want. And we facilitate the procurement of these ISPs through our Meter Connect product. And because we know the high quality ISPs for your location, and you can buy as many as you want, our SD-WAN solution can support multiple ISPs with load balance, failover, multi-WAN. You have all these features, and once you have the ISP procurement happen and ingress into the network, you will start with a great network design, and that's how it becomes a great outcome for customers. AI is a general term, and you can use it for a lot of different things. The way we think about AI is through autonomous networks. In networking, the core concept when an IT engineer or network engineer manages a network is determinism. With AI or LLMs, determinism is very difficult. What we have done is we've trained our own model. It's very, very scoped and specific to networking. It uses our API, our virtualization layer, to make the answers deterministic. So you can go to our command product. You can say, show me the last time when ISP deprecated below 95%. Now, you want an answer that should be precise because you want the ISPs to hold the SLAs. If you get a random answer, last month it was 3 times, you have no idea what that means. You want precise answers. You want the command, you want the AI, you want the tool to tell you a deterministic answer of, it was last week at 9:05 p.m., there was a dip in your ISP below 95%. And now you can take actions. And that is how we train our model. And that is why meter autonomous networks are very powerful. And the reason we don't use AI is they're specifically for networks and network engineers. Every single day, we hear from customers that IT teams are becoming smaller and smaller. They're getting less resources, but the demands on the IT team are getting much, much larger. So less resources, high demands. Now, networking is a core component of IT. And what we want to provide is tools to help the IT teams have superpowers. So our investment starts with autonomous networks. So we can actually train these models from now on. All of our investments in the next, last 6 months to the last 12 months to next 12 months to next 24 months, our investments are going to go into making autonomous networks really accessible to the IT engineer. Because we believe that by giving this superpower to the IT teams, they can do wonders. They can actually do their jobs better. They can do their jobs better and better and better every single day and have more time for family, for even helping the employees of the company. So our investments are going to autonomous networks going forward.